Hi everyone, hi, I'm Kate and I do the web support for AHVISE, and I'm very excited to see that you've clicked on this video to learn more about AHVISE as a volunteer. And I'm going to walk you through some things right now just to give you a little bit of a background of what it's about and how it works if you were thinking of joining. So first of all, I want to let you know AHVISE is actually run by Aussie Helpers, and Aussie Helpers is a charity-based business. We don't get government funding, and it's family-run charity. It's actually headed up by Brian Egan, who is quite amazing person you will hear about from time to time. This is the website for Aussie Helpers, and as you can see, there's they have a lot going on. They rely solely on donations to run, and they have millions of dollars come in, thankfully, and they can then channel that out to farmers around Australia and support them in various ways. And one of the ways they support them is with AHVISE. They do have an ongoing blog, and you can buy things, but it changes from time to time. So that's not what it's about today. It's about AHVISE today. So what I'm going to do is just try and stay on track. There was a story on an episode on Australian Story. It was quite a few years ago on Brian Egan. So if you Google that, it's on our About page on Aussie Helpers. So if you want to know more about them and their story and how they've came to be and what they do, that's Aussie Helpers. So they're in the background keeping AHVISE going. And the way they do that is with financial support. They put a lot of the donations towards keeping the program going, cost reimbursements for volunteers, things like that, so that the families don't have to pay that. It's actually managed by Lynn French. So she's not in the Aussie Helpers office. She works remotely, as do our volunteer coordinators. And as a result, we try and minimise contact to Aussie Helpers. In fact, we don't like you even contacting them. They just forward it back to us. So if anything, it's just disruptive when you do it. If you need help, you go through the contact page on our website, on the AHVISE site, which is here, and you just click on the contact page. We've now got a ticket system. So what that means is you just put in your email and your password and it joins you. Now, it only joins you to the ticketing system. It doesn't join you to AHVISE. So I just want to get that through, because you might join to do this and then think you've registered as AHVISE. That's not at all. They're two very different things. So if you put in here and you put in your password, it'll say general inquiry, and that's where you ask what you need help with or some questions you need resolved. And be specific about what it is you're contacting us about so that we can have the right person contact you back. If you want a call back, you can request it. But generally, we try and minimise callbacks because it's really time consuming for the volunteers. If it's something we can handle by email, that's obviously our first preference. And once we reply, we usually see them within a day or two. We'll get back to you, and you can just reply to that email. Then it will go into our ticket system. You don't actually have to log in to check the tickets, and you don't have to log in to reply to them. But you can as well if you want to. Okay, so that's how the ticketing system works. And I'm going to just move on from that. Okay, so request a callback with an explanation why. Your privacy is important to us, so we do put in a lot of checks in the process. So when you actually register, only after you've submitted adequate ID will we approve you as a volunteer, and then you can see which placements are available, and then you can request to access or to apply for one, which I'm going to show you in a minute. I did mention the volunteers, some of your costs can be refunded as part of being part of the program, and families often provide the accommodation and meals. So you need to check the actual ads when you become registered to see which ones are offering what, depending on what your needs are. Some of the placements are relevant if you've got a caravan, and some of the placements only accept people with a caravan. And then some of the opposite. They say our property is not suitable for a caravan. I don't know why, but they have their reasons. And they say we have actually like a staff quarters and we want them to stay there and it's nice. And some of them have a cottage. Look, they all have different things, and they tend to say that in the placement. So what I'm going to do is walk you through now. So a prospective volunteer in front of you, all the documents you need, if they're there, which I'll show you in a minute, your approval as a volunteer could be within a day or two. And at any time, even before you're approved, you can log in and edit your details. Okay, so you might join today and then log in next week and finish filling in all the details. You won't get approved until all your details are logged in and all your ID has been provided. If you want approval prior to your ID being provided, because perhaps you've applied for your blue card but it hasn't come through yet, then you have to contact the admin through the contact form and say, I've done all this, I've filled all that out, would it be possible to prematurely approve me because we have applied for a blue card, it just hasn't been approved. Once you've been approved, you can log in and you can view the placements. And there's a button on each placement that you can just click on and say, I want to apply for it, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So coordinators will then contact you within a couple of weeks, possibly earlier. And you can always log in and you can contact us through the contact form and say what's happening there. Okay, I've already explained how the tickets work. So what I'm going to just do is a real quick mock-up join and show you the process and how it works. And then it's up to you if you want to go ahead and do that yourself today. So I'm going to put in K123. I've just done so many. 45, okay? And 345 can be my surname. I'll just put my name. Okay, that's fine. And then the user, I'll put K12345. And then the email, I'll just put K12345 at NetSplashing, which is my company, which means the email just go nowhere, which is fine. And the password, I'm just going to use any old password for me today that I remember. And if you ever lose your password, that's where the lost password will send the email to reset it. So make sure you remember which. I assume you've only got one email. Some people have got a few. 9, I've got to do this stupid code, which drives me nuts. We do that because we get a lot of spam if we don't do this, and we just do not want to get bogged down with that. If you can't read it, just click on the rehash here. When you've put it in correctly, it'll go green. If it's not going green, it means you've got this wrong, okay? And then you simply click sign up. Make sure you've clicked the volunteer form and not family, okay? Volunteer, and I'm going to say sign up, and it will take you straight into the profile page where you put in the settings for your volunteer application, okay? So this submit information is really, it's really the save information button, but submit, save, whatever. As you can see, the menu up here has changed a bit now. Now, if I go to click on view placements, I've registered, I want to see the view placements, it will say you don't have access yet because I haven't been approved, okay? So just keep that in the back of your mind. And you can go through contact if you do have a question. Once you've logged in, you can do that. This is the welcome video, which you can just push play and you can watch, which is me babbling on again. It's where I really walk you through this page in much more detail than what I'm going to do today. But essentially what I'm going to tell you today is this is where you put in all your details, like who you are, where you live, things like that. And this is your placement information, so what dates, what qualifications, what years you actually help people, what states you're willing to work in, things like that. If you have a spouse that can help, you say no, or you can just say you just don't fill it in. Your spouse is not helping. That's fine. And notice how I've edited a few things. So in a minute, I'm going to press submit because if I don't, it won't save. Okay. So upload documents, and this is where you can download the blue card forms if you need them. Also, our AHVISE agreement, you'll have to download and sign and send to the coordinator before you attend a placement, okay? Otherwise, you don't need to do that. You only need to do the blue card information and make sure that's all done if you want to view placements and apply. If you get a placement, then you have to do the agreement, okay? So don't do the agreement unless you have to. Download forms here by clicking on it. It will just simply download it into a box. There you go, straight down here. You double click on it and you can open it up. But look, that welcome video goes through all that anyway, so I'm not going to get bogged down with that. So if we get your application and we don't see your driver's license and your blue card copies, or you're working with children copies here, we won't approve it. This is what we're looking for. And this is where you just click on here, or you can literally drag and drop it into there. And once you do that, see how you can open and shut? You just say submit information, and now it's saved. Okay, now when you log in again, it will take you straight to this page. This is your main page until you're approved, and when you're approved, you'll be able to see placements. So I'm just going to go quickly approve me now so I can show you the placements. Actually, you don't need to see that. I think I'll just leave it at this point, actually. So essentially, once you do have approval, you click on view placements. It will stack the placements up one by one down here. And it doesn't divulge their personal details of their names, but it certainly tells you enough about the placement, the location, the dates, what age the children are, if they have any special needs. And if you see one you like, you just click on that. It will open it up in full, and you read all that information. You go, yeah, oh, they provide meals. That's great. Those dates suit me. I can do that. And there'll be a little blue button up the top here that says apply for placement. And you click on that and it will pop up a box saying, tell us why you'd like to apply for this. Okay, well, I'd like to apply for it. I can help this child with that particular situation. I'm going to be in that area later in the year. This is a perfect thing for me. And then you push submit. That will then send it off to the coordinator who's managing that family placement. And that coordinator will tally up all the applications, probably over a week or two, sometimes longer. And then they'll get back to you if this is a good fit for you. Sometimes they get back to you within 2 or 3 days. You know, like, you're a good fit. Bang. They email you and say, yeah, you know, we'd love to tell you more about this placement. When you see the initial information about the placements, it's not a lot of detail. It's just enough that you can say, I'd like to apply. And then when you speak to a coordinator, you can really nut out whether it is a good fit. You're not locking it in. You're applying. You're like registering an interest. Because often at that point, when you have a conversation, it's not a good fit. Like, you go, oh, I've got a caravan. And they go, oh, no, this property's no good for that. You know, this sort of thing. So I encourage you to apply. I encourage you to put up your documents to be able to see the placements. And I encourage you to apply for the placements because we need the help. There's currently a mass, I would say 80% of our placements are not filled. And this is, sometimes it's because you're waiting for documents to be approved. That can take a few weeks. That's frustrating. But you will get them approved. If you do get them approved, you let us know. Make sure we can get you approved from our end straight away. Okay, so if you have any inquiries, make sure you go through the contact form, put in here and ask away. Otherwise, I encourage you just to join. Just hit join or sign up. Give us your details, get involved, and we look forward to hearing from you further at that point. Okay, I'm Kate, and I'll sign off here. Thanks for listening.